Deion Sanders made a huge promise to Colorado fans. Will he be able to keep it, though? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcasting network in the business. I'm Kevin Borba. Joining me today is former Buff, former Yellow Jacket, and former Razorback Jordan Dominick. Jordan, appreciate you hopping on. We're going to be talking about the recent promise that Deion Sanders made. We're going to be talking about how Colorado combats losing players that want more money or how they could keep those guys in town. And then I'll be doing a deep dive into the Colorado signing day class because it is signing day, a holiday that most recruits remember. I feel like it was better back in the day though, when they had it on the hats on the table, just sort of put it on. It felt like a bigger deal now. I don't know what the difference is, but Jordan, I wanted to read you this quote from Coach Prime and get your thoughts on it because you go 3-9 this season. You take a huge step back from 9-4, and even your guys' season was a great sign of progress for the program. And so I would say this is his first step back at Colorado. And I think a lot of people are looking for answers. And this is what Deion Sanders had to say. Please understand, if anybody is built for adversity, I am. If anybody is built for change, I am. If anybody is built to overcome situations and trials and tribulations, I am. You've got the right man. I promise you, you do. And I'm going to prove that to you. I am. Just give me an opportunity and a little more time, and I'm going to prove that to you. I will. I promise you that. So Coach Prime is clearly aware that things didn't go well, obviously. What do you make of this promise? Like, how does he make good on this promise?
Well, if we look at his track record at Colorado so far, his basic, I guess you could say, default would be he's brought a lot of success to Colorado, whether it is on and off the field. So it's not like he hasn't been making do with this promise. It's just so right now we didn't have the best on field season.
Mm-hmm.
That just had to do with the mentality of the team, the mentality of just the players, and the mentality of some of the coaches as well. And I feel like right now, Coach Prime sees that, he understands that, and he knows, hey, now it's time to make some changes. We had Shador, we had Jimmy Horn, we had Zay, we still have Amarion. We had a whole bunch of weapons on those first 2 years when he was first there, and he was able to turn that situation around from a 1-11 season to a 4-8 season to what was it, a 7 or 9 win
Nine,
season?
nine and
He
four,
had a
yeah.
9 win season. So right now they just took a step back this year because it was a whole new rebrand. They had to figure out who's going to be their new quarterback. They have to figure out, they lost a lot of people to the draft. They lost a lot of people to, eligibility reasoning. Um, Coach Prime has been bringing success to Colorado. So it's more so what can he do for us now in recent past years. And what we've seen from him so far this year was they did struggle. They did take a few steps back this year. And he's going to do the same thing that he did at the beginning of his tenure when he first got to Colorado. He's going to go out and recruit. I've seen some of the signing class. He has some good players in the signing class, but he's definitely going to hit that portal hard. I feel like he knows that there are people on his team that aren't fully bought into the program or don't really feel like, oh, this is the place for me. He understands that, and he gave them opportunities to get film, whether it was in scrimmages or whatever, so that he knows that he'll allow them to hit that transfer portal and get the film out there and make the best opportunity for other people. But he also wants to he also knows that, hey, I have to go out into this portal and recruit better people than we have now. That's the plan, and that's the way we're going to be able to win. Recruit the people that have the better mentalities, that have more talent, just all around better individuals that would fit better in his program that he's running. He's also going to have to get rid of a few coaches. I feel like that the coaches did not live up to the standard that they should have this year.
Mhm.
Specifically, a few position coaches, possibly a coordinator, and we'll just have to see what he decides to do over these next, coming weeks, especially during this winter season when, there's so much movement going on. We've seen Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss after a historic season to go to LSU. We've seen, so many coaches get fired and hired and moved around and everything like that.
Yep.
So for Coach Prom to outright say, look, I have a promise. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm going to bring success to Colorado. You can tell he is committed to Colorado. It's not just talk. He's been out there, Colorado, for the past 3 years. I'm pretty sure he's getting multiple offers to go coach at different schools just from the expertise of him being Coach Prime himself. But I feel like he understands where he went wrong this season, where the team went wrong this season, and he's going to make some major adjustments over the course of the next 2 months, especially coming up onto this next signing day, because we had signing day just recently, and then the second signing day, which is
Mhm.
coming up in February. I feel like we're going to see an entirely new, possibly an entirely new coaching staff, or we're going to see a lot of brand new faces on this coaching staff, as well as a lot of brand new faces after December, after the Christmas break, when they come back for uh, what is it, spring
Yeah.
season?
Yeah.
When they come back for spring season, I was trying to think of like the beginning of the school semester, but I couldn't even remember.
Dude graduates from college and forgets how college works.
Literally. But definitely, he's gonna make a lot of moves during this off season between
Yeah.
December and January. And
Okay. On that
honestly,
note,
oh yeah.
no, sorry. I was gonna say on that note, because I totally agree with you. He has to make moves, right? You can't just.
Hmm.
We all know the definition of insanity. I've said the cliche like 30 times already, where it's like it's just doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, right? We all know that definition, but at the same time, how does Deion Sanders change so many things? Like he's going to change. Me and you talked about this off air. We're thinking around 4 coaches. Could be more, could be less, but he's definitely going to make some changes. And I think we both agreed that 4 is should be like the baseline number. And
Yeah.
then we all know he's going to have to bring in 40, 50 transfer guys in addition to the 11, possibly 11 to 15 recruits that they're signing. So with so many changes around the program, how does he make it where his culture is better? Because I feel like that's sort of the disconnect with Colorado right now is like they aren't getting guys to buy in. And so as soon as Colorado struggled this year, it was like the guys that came, and I think you know this as well as anyone because I feel like there's probably people on your team that did it and you've seen it firsthand before. The guys came for clout and they didn't get it, or they did get it and then they didn't care when Colorado started to struggle. So how do you prevent this from happening again?
It's all about recruiting. You usually try to take a risk on people that you believe have the right mentality, the right mindset to be able to come into a program like this where everything is televised, everything is recorded, and everything's being put out on
Mhm.
YouTube, on Amazon Prime, everywhere, where
Right.
people will really go out and see your face.
Right.
And to be able to combat this, you're just going to have to take the leap of faith every time. So you're going to have to find recruits that you feel like you see them on the field, and despite what's going on, they're still playing, 100% to the wall. There is nothing that you can really say that'll 100% guarantee that you're going to get the right person. But that's what the recruiting is for. You have to go out there and actually get to know the person. You have to talk to them. You have to understand them. You have to get those players that you're trying to recruit around your players that you have now, that you want to keep. You have to have your players recruit them. And you have to get the feedback from your players on, hey, what kind of person is this guy? Is he good for the program? Do you think he'll be able to fit in here? Do you think he's going to be an asset to us instead of a liability? There's so many different ways that you can figure out how good somebody is. Not talent wise, but how good of a fit somebody is for the program that you're trying to run. And if they're not on the same level or same wave that you want, then wash your hands and move on to the next recruit.
Yeah.
So it's really just a risk of like, how well can I judge this person's character and his talent and his ability
Yeah.
before we decide to offer him and decide to bring him in? And it's going to be a quick turnaround. Like they only have all of the month of December, which is what, at this point, 29, 28 days, and
Mhm.
then maybe 7 or 8 in January.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think the hard part about the transfer portal is Colorado invested in it so heavily last, or I mean, they've done it every year, and
Hmm.
there's been mixed reviews. Like I would say, like your year, you guys had some really big hits. You, Jimmy, Xavier. I don't really. It's hard for me to count Travis and Shador because like he recruited them to his school and they just followed him. But Travis and Xavier, or Travis and Shador, like those guys, Cameron and Craig, right? Like there was a lot of hits last year. There was some hits, but there's also been quite a few misses, and I think however they, well, let's talk about this actually. You're here. What was your process like getting to Colorado? Like how quickly of a process did it move?
So for me, I ended up wanting to leave Arkansas after our bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up taking an official visit out to Colorado. Then
Mm-hmm.
I went down to Miami to visit my girlfriend at the time. And after that, it was basically her birthday was in January. It was on the 6th. And right after that, I was up at Colorado because that's when the school year started.
Mm.
So it was literally it
So
was a
like
quick process for me.
their interview process, like what was that like? Was it like, hey, we watched your film, we like you, or was it like, hey, we're interested in you, come on down? Like,
So the thing for me was that I had already had a rapport with them from beforehand. When I was transferring from Georgia Tech to Arkansas, I had taken an official visit out to them at Jackson State while they were
okay.
still there. So I've gone and officially visited them, and the interview process was amazing. We talked, they got to know me. They pretty much knew what kind of person I was. My mom was from Mississippi,
Hmm.
so when we went out there, it was literally like we were seeing family again.
Yeah.
It was so funny to me because when I first
Yeah.
went out there, we were just sitting down at like this little food restaurant area,
Hmm.
and a bunch of AKAs walked in, and they were like, "Stacy, is that you?" And I was like, how does my mama know all these people? So she's having whole conversations with some of her
Famous.
line
She's
sisters
famous
and
over there.
everything. It was so funny to me. I was like, oh wow, like this is family right here for her.
Yeah.
So no, it was definitely an enjoyable experience. The interview process, what they did was they got you around the coaches, had you talking to everybody, similar to anything else, getting all the recruits together, seeing how well they mesh together, and then bringing in their host and seeing how well they mesh with the host and the other players on the team and whatnot. So, Coach Prime has a really good process of determining whether or not their players are right for their program.
Mm.
But like you said, there's only so much you can do with such a short window of opportunity because
Yeah.
it's not just I can hit the transfer portal at any time now and just go take visits and whatnot. Now there are recruiting openings where there are certain dead periods and there are certain alive periods where you can actually hit the portal and take trips and everything like
Yeah.
that. Especially
Yeah.
as a grad transfer, you only have a certain amount of time. And if you want to take, all five of your official visits, then you have to like basically line them up back to back to back to back to back at this point. Like you're literally going from one school to another to another. Like
For
it's a
sure.
very interesting process as a grad transfer, but I will say that the interview process from Coach Prime, just getting to know him, talking to him, and him asking me like what kind of like the questions that he asked me were, what kind of person do you think you can be? What kind of mentality do you can have on a football field? Like what do you like? He was asking me questions not just about football but also in life, like what was my character, like what kind of person was I, what have I done before,
Mhm.
what adversity have I faced in life to be able to come out here and have the right mentality where if I face a little bit of adversity I'm not going to give up, but instead I'm going to play through it no matter what.
Mm.
And it was an interesting process for me the entire time. And so going from Jackson State after didn't I didn't commit there, I was leaving Arkansas. They reached back out to me when they got to Colorado. They were like, hey, do you want to, we still want you, we still think you're a great player, we still would love for you to be over here with us. So I ended up taking an official visit out there again. Interview process wasn't as big that time because they already knew me. I had already had like a rapport with them. I was talking to them and everything. So they ended up having me, not even having me. I ended up just committing to them, and it was just an amazing experience overall for me when I was at Colorado, despite what the record was.
Yeah, no, I that's an interesting sort of insight there. I feel like maybe the hard part of this past season was Coach Prime's health issues. Maybe he wasn't able to be as involved. I don't know. I just think whatever they're doing specifically this past year with the transfers, it didn't work, right? Because like we didn't get the right guys with the right attitude. So hopefully Coach Prime, he says he saw like what he needed to change. So hopefully there's a way he could fine tune that process. Cause I do think, I mean, for every Jordan Dominick, there was a few other guys where it's like, oh, like that. We really thought that this guy was going to be bought in at all times. Interesting. But I mean, that's the name of the game. And Colorado just needs to figure out a way to mitigate those misses. We're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about Coach Prime's best bet at fighting the people who want to leave for money. It's a thing in college football these days. Apparently, they get paid now. Apparently, right, Jordan? Who knew?
Yep.
Who
Never
knew?
knew
But
that. Would have
it,
loved to be in college at this time. That's all I know.
it's a huge thing, and Colorado is going to have to combat it for years to come. Let's take a quick break, though. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Omaha Steaks. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it feel almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. My dad, Jordan, you've never met him, but he is literally impossible to shop for. He hates every article of clothing I've ever gotten him. Doesn't really have any hobbies, and whenever he wants something, he buys it himself. So I was like, you know what this guy likes to do that he doesn't typically buy for himself? He likes to grill. And so I went to Omaha Steaks, got him a handful of rich flavor steaks that make or they're easy to cook. There's burgers, there's everything in between, and he loved it. He actually had a smile on his face, unlike the time where I had to return the jacket that I got him that I thought he'd like. So if you want to shop for someone who's hard to shop for, or maybe you just want to treat someone to a nice steak, save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and extra 20% off select flavors during their cyber sale and an additional $35 off. Use promo code college, at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code college. Terms apply. See site for details. This episode of Locked On Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at Doer. If you or a loved one need some pants this holiday season and you want to look good and you're like, you know what, I've tried this name brand, I've tried whatever it is, Doer is a place for you because not only are these pants probably the comfiest pants I've ever owned, but they look sleek, they look professional. You could wear them to a meeting, you could wear them to go grocery shopping because they're versatile. They have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. They're made with Cool Max, which regulates the body temperature and wicks moisture, keeps you cool and comfortable as the temperature changes. And simply put, Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice style. Trust me, once you try these, they'll be your go-to. And you can check out Doer in-store here in Denver. It's at 2621 Lemire Street. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Mention my promo code Locked On Denver in-store to get 15% off your first order, or check them out online at shopduer.com/LockedOnDenver for 15% off. That's shopduer.com/LockedOnDenver. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. It's Kevin Borba. It's Jordan Dominick. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Locked On Podcast Network is now the #1 sports podcasting network in the business, so that's exciting. Jordan, football, money, it's always gone hand in hand, but now the money aspect is legal, or at least some of it, right? I'm sure there's some shady parts behind the scenes where it's like, that's not really what the rules were intended for, but it's happening nonetheless. But one of the things that Coach Prime discussed recently is that there's always going to be guys who leave for more money. So what can Colorado do? Because it's going to happen, but what can Colorado do to limit those departures and outside of fundraising, and like what can they do coaching wise and like schematics wise and stuff?
I mean, schematics wise, it's really nothing that the coaches can do. I mean, Colorado, obviously, they're trying to build up a collective so that they're able to pay their athletes as well. It's probably not as big of a collective as you would say Arkansas, who has Walmart money, or Alabama, who has winning money, championship money. But
Pays well.
Colorado definitely has some deep pockets out there as well. So
Mhm.
it's really just going to come down to the kind of players that Coach Prime goes to get.
Mhm.
There are so many things that go into the recruiting process, and somebody that's only focused on, hey, I want to go get as much money as possible as I can, they're probably not thinking long term of, oh, I want to develop and become a true football player. I really want to go to the NFL. If their main motivation for going to a school is money, then that's
Mhm.
probably not the right person for the program that Coach Prime is running.
Okay.
So as a coach, the best thing you can do is just show the schematics, show the best way that you can get a person onto the field, and just show them how they'll be able to make an impact at this level, and possibly even, put themselves in the best light to go to the next level.
Okay.
That's the best thing that a coach can do as a recruiter at the moment. Like, money comes, money goes. You can, have so much of it. But if you truly want to develop, become a better player, you're going to go to the place where the coaches truly care about you and truly want to see you develop. They truly want to see you go out there onto a football field and make plays, and you have to find the best place for you. And
Yeah.
that's not going to be the place that offers you the biggest bag. Oh, I'll give you 100,000. I'll give you 150,000. I'll give you, this, that, and the third. Because a lot of those conversations really don't bring out the fruition that you would think.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say things, but you're not actually getting what they're promised. And that's another risk that a lot of people don't take into account when hitting that transfer portal either. They're getting offered all these big bags, but then they get there and it's not what they think. And now I'm on a team that really didn't want to be on because I thought I could make a huge payday. And now I'm just here. So the best thing coaches can do at the moment is find players that they know they can make some money. Like,
Mhm.
obviously everybody wants to make some money, but that's not going to be their main motivation of going to a school. Your main motivation of going to a school is finding a place that's really going to put you in the best spotlight to make it to that next level. Or even if you don't make it to the next level, go to a place where whatever schooling you get, it can put you and set you up in a place for life, like Jeremiah Brown. He's now working in, I believe, realty and working with homeowners and stuff like that. Um, he has set himself up for life using Coach Prime, his connections, his, just everything around them. He has the networking, he had the clout, he had everything. And he was a great football player as well. I'm pretty sure he might not be playing anymore, but even then, he set himself up for amazing success after school.
Mhm.
Charlie Offerdahl. I'm gonna keep bringing up my boy Charlie because he set himself up
Yeah.
great for after school.
Mhm.
Even though he ended up his football career a little early, he's setting himself up perfectly. Ben Finiseth, DB, great dude. He's setting himself up great for after life after football life. He is a thriving content creator right now, and it all started when he was over at Colorado.
Yeah.
So I love it, and I love the way that not only Colorado was setting them up for football, but also he's trying to help people set up for their life 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road.
Mhm.
Coach Prime brings in speakers that talk about being financially smart, financially stable, understanding what you're doing in school and setting up a path for your life to be able to be successful in life. So that was one of the main reasons they got me,
Mhm.
is because I really wasn't a big money guy. Like, obviously I feel like I can make money anywhere. You can do whatever you need to.
Mhm.
But what they showed me when I first went up there with Coach Kelly, and he was showing me the scheme and what I could do and how I could be of use to Colorado and everything. That was
Mhm.
what really got me, is breaking down the schematics and showing how I can be, you know, a real playmaker within their defense.
Yeah. I think nowadays, and this is the mentality I would have as a coach, I feel like if a player, the first thing they mentioned was money, I feel like I wouldn't want them. Because
Hmm.
to me, that shows like you're not here to play for me. You're not here to put on the Colorado helmet, or you're not here to play at Folsom Field in front of like one of the best fan bases in the country. You're here solely for selfish reasons. Now, like you said, everyone wants to make money. Like I have a job because I want to make money. You have a job that you because you want to make money, right? You're playing football still. Like everyone wants to make money. We know that. But if that's like if you're a coach at Colorado and you sort of get that treatment of like, okay, how much am I going to make to come here? I would be like, actually not much because this isn't the place for you. Because I think right now, the guys that Colorado brought in this past year specifically was they had a selfish mindset. They had a what am I going to get paid mindset. And I feel like regardless of how the season ended, they didn't care because they were getting paid. And that's the hard part with this new era is you have to find the guys who are able to make the difference for you, but also money is not their sole motivation, at least at the
Hmm.
college level. Because as Coach Prime has said countless times, and I'm sure you know where I'm going, the big money is at the next level, right? It's not
Hmm.
at like you can make life changing money in college, but the life sustaining money is in the NFL. So, Jordan, how do you agree with me? Just the guys that are money first, like kind of don't. I was
For sure, because at that point they're only there for like you said, money. It's not about developing. It's not about coming
Mhm.
in and being part of the culture and being part of and creating a winning culture. It's
Right.
all about how much money can I make right now,
Yeah.
despite whether I play well or play horrible or whatever. I don't really care. I'm here to make as much money as I can, trying
Yeah.
to get to a bag. And that kind of player, that kind of individual is a cancer for your team. If the first thing that their mindset is how much money can I make right now, instead of
Mhm.
okay, how can I develop to make a lot more money in the future,
Yeah.
there's an issue with that, and that's not the kind of player you would want on your team.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Jordan, appreciate you for hopping on.
Of
Um,
course.
Follow him on all socials. He's going to be hopping on here and there throughout the offseason as we dive into some of the transfers that Colorado brings in. We'll do some film studies on some of these guys as well. We'll bring our film rooms back. The team fell off, and our film studies just turned into us ripping them. So it was like, okay,
So it
let's
was like we can't keep doing this.
yeah,
And they had some great plays. They showed some flashes.
yeah,
Juju showed out a little bit. Kaden
yeah,
Salter did show some things. I'm really excited next season to see where the running backs come from because I
yeah,
definitely want to see a lot more running in Colorado's offense.
yeah.
And if they're able to sustain that throughout the whole season, I feel like it's going to be a completely different squad.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. We'll see when the transfer portal gets active. Jordan, appreciate you hopping on. When we
Of
come
course,
back,
of
when I come
course.
back, I'll be diving into signing day. It's early signing day, and Colorado is expected to sign a full for them class. And so I'll go through and highlight each of the commits. But for Jordan, we will see you next time.
Yeah, I'll be safe.
This episode of Locked on Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at Game Time. Now, we all know getting tickets for anything, whether it's comedy, theater, sports, it's hard, but Game Time makes it easy. The World Cup, it's coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and I wasn't even alive then. With 48 teams for the first time ever. It's going to be massive, but let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. And that's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging those seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to, the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You can pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. There's alerts for teams and matches that makes it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets. Every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account, use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download Game Time. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. I appreciate all of you for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. It's signing day for the Buffs. I'm going to update you on what is a brief class. They have 11 total commits, 8 have signed. I'll highlight each of the ones that have signed, and then I'll dive into the 3 that haven't. So Carson Crawford is the highest ranked commit in this class, according to 24/7, linebacker out of Texas. Versatile player. Probably, I think my favorite guy. Obviously, it's not a hot take for the top rated guy to be a favorite, but I think this is a recruiting gem for Colorado. His other notable offers were Texas State, UNLV, Arkansas State, Houston. They saw something in him, and at the time Colorado landed him, he was a 3-star, ranked well into the high, I think 400, 500s. Now he's the 202nd player in the country, 11th linebacker in the country. Um, Super athletic, played tight end and wide receiver as well as linebacker. So I think he's a guy that, with the issues that Colorado's linebacker room had this past year, could probably see a lot of time. Um, Oklahoma State came pushing for him. Preston Ashley out of Mississippi, listed as a safety on 24/7, but I think he's going to try to play corner. Um, 5'10", 170. He's been a guy that's been very vocal about being proud to be a Buff, and I think those are the kind of guys that can make or break a program. Like, the more guys that you have that are invested in playing for your program, the better. Rodney Colton, linebacker out of Georgia. There was some expectations or thoughts that he may look elsewhere, but the Buffs were able to keep him in town. So 2 linebackers, both of which may have a chance to play right away. They both had to get some size on them, so that way they can really adapt to the college game. Christian Ward, 3-star receiver out of IMG Academy, 6'3", 195. I mean, IMG has been good to Colorado, and this is a good addition. This is I don't know what his role looks like right away, because I feel like, assuming Omarion Miller, Joseph Williams, and all those guys return, it's going to be a pretty full room, but there's always room for a 6'3" guy. Think of Will Shepard, but more athletic, I think. Xavier Payne and Josiah Manu. Xavier's from Orlando. Josiah is from Colorado, both of which are offensive tackles. 6'7", 320 for Xavier, 6'5", 295 for Josiah. Some nice offensive line depth that Colorado needs to develop. Colby Johnson from Washington is another guy that they signed, 6'2", 195. He's going to have to gain a lot of size. He'll probably make an impact on special teams first before anything. Maurice Williams, they signed a corner out of Edna Carr in New Orleans. I liked him when they landed him because they kind of got him over Georgia Tech. Liberty came after him. I think he was at one point committed to Liberty. So a lot of guys that they are doing some digging on. These could all be some hidden gems. And then they have 3 guys who haven't signed yet as of recording. D'Amato Pekka Jr. Don't know if that's because his dad's job in question, or maybe is he looking elsewhere? Maybe he just hasn't signed. Who knows? Alexander Ward is the younger brother of Christian Ward, 6'1", 174, can play wide receiver, corner. Also at IMG, he's reclassified from the 2027 class. Pretty exciting addition there, because I think you need more weapons, and if he's a guy that can help out a corner, great. And then Ben Gula, offensive lineman. From the last I heard, he was supposed to sign with the Buffs. We will just have to wait and see if he officially puts pen to paper. But I will keep you guys updated every step of the way on Colorado's recruiting class and all things Buffs. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. This has been Locked On Buffs.